Hello and welcome everybody. Welcome to OzByDrone. I'm Greg.
And I'm John. Hi everybody. How are you this week?
Look, it's been a wonderful week. He's Greg. I'm Greg. He's John. And who's this? He forgot. You know, we practiced this routine. We practiced this routine, and I was going to go, I'm Greg, I'm John, and I'm Mr. Grump, but
actually, he was. I know he was tending to some other bookkeeping with the show at the time, so he got him by surprise. All good stuff.
I forgot.
G'day, Lloyd.
Hey, John. Hey, Greg.
Hey, good to see you, mate.
It's been a good week. What's happening for you this week, John? We had a really good pilots meeting the other day.
Yeah, we had a great pilots meeting on Tuesday night, but earlier in the week, I flew Saturday and Sunday down in Bomaderry, and that's why I was not here last week. Sorry about my absence, but I was down on the south coast, and we did a 3D mesh, a model of a high school there that has a flooding problem. And of course, you take a model of the site with use the Phantom 4RTK, and they're able to estimate and work out where the water's going. Then Monday and Tuesday, I did 3 more schools, just roof inspections. So I've been flying all week. It's been fantastic. I'm happy as I could be.
Okay, good to hear. We've got a great guest on today as well, and we're just having some fun technical difficulties with him. Our guest is going to be Jason San Souci. He looks like a black screen at the moment. Hopefully we'll get that sorted out while we do the beginning of our show. Lloyd, anything interesting for you happen this week?
I slept. That's it. I slept. It's been cold. It's been miserable. And that's all I felt like doing was sleeping.
Okay.
So, yeah.
You get to do that.
My life.
You get to do that at your age.
That's not a bad thing to do, though.
That's true.
Okay, well, let's get into it. Beginning of the show, we're going to get into the news. As always, OzByDrone News is brought to you by Air Data UAV. The question we ask you every week, is your drone healthy, or is it about to surprise you on your next flight? Don't wait to find out. Discover under the hood information and review the early signs of problems before you take off. Use the discount code OzByDrone20 and you will get a 20% discount off your subscription. There is a link in the description. As always, though, you can get a free service if you want to try it out. There's a basic service available. It's a really, really good product.
And while I jump in there, Greg, this week, Air Data have released 10 new features on their enterprise level edition. Access to, and it's all fantastic stuff. New little things that we've been really hoping for, grouping certain areas or flights together, grouping different aircraft together. Just a great way to manage your aircraft. Now, most people just use it as a single user. A lot of my guys are doing that, but because you've got more than one aircraft and you're managing a fleet, wow, it's a very, very powerful bit of gear. So I'm very happy with their new upgrade that happened just this week.
Okay. And speaking of the data that's in Air Data, I've been having a little bit of fun this week just to share with everyone. The connection between DJI Assistant and your aircraft, or if you're using some other software, whatever it might be, but just having a look at those packets and digging down into them, looking at them, sniffing them with Wireshark, interpreting it. Over the summer season, for our regular viewers who've been with us for a while, you'll know that we have a summer edition in December and January, so we can have our little holiday period. During that period, it's going to be a lot more relaxed, and we're going to get in and have some fun, dive in. I'm going to get some of that stuff up on the screen and show you what's actually happening under the hood. So Let's get into that. But first of all, our first story, which is this one, and it's titled AI Drone. Faster, cheaper, safer, better. Companies are constantly searching for more efficient and affordable options to perform routine and hazardous tasks in industrial environments. Self-navigating drones could be the solution, but configuring them to maneuver indoor spaces without a strong GPS signal can be expensive. Utilizing image analysis and QR codes, researchers at Idaho National Laboratory have developed a new cost-effective method to make standard drones with cameras capable of autonomously performing jobs in GPS-deprived hazardous areas. Drones equipped with the INL's new Route Operable Unmanned Navigation of Drones, and I don't know why they go and pick up these silly acronyms, but it's spelt out rounds. The round software can be used to automate tedious tasks at power plants, for example, or factories to improve operational efficiencies, lower costs, and reduce the risk of workplace injuries. Let's have a look at this.
The Route Operable Unmanned Navigation of Drones, or ROUNDS, will allow the autonomous operation of drones in known environments. ROUNDS was developed by the Department of Energy Light Water Reactor Sustainability Program to help automate activities at the current fleet of U.S. nuclear power plants. Cost and safety concerns have motivated the program to search for alternatives to plant workers performing routine activities, such as monitoring equipment or collecting readings. ROUNDS allows a drone to automate these manual processes, collect the same information at a much higher frequency, and reduce human exposure to hazards. Industrial environments often have obstacles that can be navigated by drones only if they are equipped with the means to quickly recognize and react to the environment. Other technologies that rely on environmental mapping are not as fast and precise as ROUNDS. They are also more expensive and require additional sensors, which add weight and consume more power. ROUNDS enables a drone to autonomously, accurately, and quickly navigate its environment and return to its charging location within a known area, covering a long route on a drone's limited battery charge, and preventing the need for charging stops along the drone's flight path. The novelty of this technology lies in ROUNDS' ability to read QR codes at any angle and reverse calculate its position. ROUNDS can...
We'll talk over the top of that while it continues until the end, but what do you think, John?
One of the things that came up in my mind was we've been doing this show for a couple of years. We probably have one or two of this sort of, news item every week. The amount of aircraft that come out regularly, and now look, the other side of it, of course, is it's claiming to be an absolute game changer, and we probably know that it's using an RGB camera and a good bit of processing, some good software.
It's just software, yeah.
It's just software. It's all current stuff. And of course, the marketing people will sell it. Other drones don't have the stuff that we've got. Maybe they've refined the software. Maybe the machine AI part of it. If we lined them up, they'd all seem a little bit the same in terms of we've got the best thing ever and it's brand new and no one else has got it. Good on them. I mean, that's marketing. And I suppose because we've had so many, where we've got a great comparison, a benchmark. I think the Skydio, gave us a bit of a start of going, wow, look at that thing, and the video they showed of it, marking, darting through trees, and again that was just cameras and clever software. So I think it's great. I think the thirst for indoor aircraft that can do valuable work will never stop. Warehouse logging, QR codes. You've got a drone that flies through a warehouse. You want to do a stock take, you don't even walk out of your office. The aircraft runs through the factory on a flight plan and measures all the QR codes, comes back after a couple of batteries and tells you exactly what you got on a massive warehouse floor.
What I think was interesting about this, like the whole QR code thing, I'm trying to remember the different stories we had, and I didn't remember QR codes specifically, but the way I look at this one, it's kind of like the drone equivalent of a security guard. They've got their little things that they've got to touch and
Yep.
check in to say, I was there. This is the drone doing the same thing and combining that with using that to assist with its navigation to make sure it doesn't get lost. Have we seen that one specifically? I don't think so.
Well, here's the thing. That's a great idea. So what about a projector? Because we've got lots of cameras on drones that do different things. What about a drone that can project a QR code? So what it does is it measures something. It goes up to a little camera on the wall and says, guess what? Here's a result of this or a result of that, or maybe it can open a door. It sends a QR code to the... We're going to see all sorts of things like that, but your point's valid. A drone that can control or perhaps send information by projecting it. I mean, of course, it's got a telemetry source anyway, but we're probably going to see in autonomous situations, a drone doesn't need necessarily a direct telemetry link of the same sort that we're used to using. So great stuff, I mean, I'm glad that we see a couple of new ones every week. DJI threw a new one up this week. Everybody's seen it. We've known about it. We've had pictures for months. We don't need to show them on the show, do we? But I know that's probably coming up as a comment later. But yeah, good stuff. I mean, as I said, there's a real thirst for this technology, and business is starting to get the picture. So great stuff.
So we'll get into a quick discussion on the Mavic 3 just before we get to our guest. But for now, let's move to the next topic. But I'll just add one last little thing. The whole idea that you mentioned of projecting, I think that if you want to do back channel communications, the smartest thing would be to use the same technology your remote control uses. Use an infrared transmitter because it's small and it's lightweight, and you can get some data over that, or Bluetooth or something else. Don't know that image projection and sending a QR code would make sense, but I get your point. Something that's a back channel that doesn't necessarily use radio transmission, because there might be environments where you don't want the radio transmission for security reasons. You don't want someone else to snoop in on that, and that kind of stuff would go well.
A changeable barcode on an item would be good too. So it projects infrared, and the actual product has a little screen on it that changes the code. Anyway, lots of ideas there, and we won't see the end of it, that's for sure.
Just briefly before we do go on to the next story, its name was decided over a roundtable conference, having a round of drinks. The drone is doing the rounds. I saw that one come up before. Was there another one in there, Lloyd? I think I saw another one come up before. Tens of dollars of research came up with that name.
Very nice. That's good. Yep. Well, we know where our audience is. That's good. Very funny, guys.
Let's get into the next one, and that's this one. We've got a hot drone. 2 US-based defense contractors are working on what could be the most promising solution to the problem of drone swarms yet. But again, this is not new. We've seen this stuff before. But General Dynamics and Epicurus are teaming up to place high-powered microwave cannons on an armoured vehicle used by the US Army. The result could be a weapon capable of tackling drone swarms and disabling vehicles on land and at sea. But the big question I have, and other people have, is how would it affect human beings? Let's have a look at the first video first. So again, we've got a force multiplier, as Ken would love to say. You know, it's a nice military toy. It's something that's going to be able to disrupt multiple aircraft, drones, or other equipment in the sky at the same time. But I'll tell you what. Sorry, go, John.
I watched a friend of mine, Roy. He played the Division. You know, one of those games that it's really quite an immersive game. And you have all this gear, and as a soldier, he has a drone that it works with autonomously, and it goes ahead and scouts and shoots and does all these fantastic things. And I'm just amazed at how even in gaming culture, the idea of having a drone to protect your space, look at the environment around you, plan an attack and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's an obvious one, isn't it, really?
Yeah. We've got a second video. Just briefly, we've got a second video, and this one, let's just have a look.
Perimeter. I say again, this is a military area. Move away from the perimeter.
It's a versatile system, and it has a range of non-lethal capability that we can't even come close to with any of our fielded systems today that are in our military forces.
About 7 football fields to give it some perspective. It can deter individuals on a military perimeter all the way up to a riotous crowd. All without permanent harm.
It only penetrates 1/64 of an inch of your skin. Goes very shallow into where your nerve receptors are, and there's no permanent injury caused by it. Very safe system. We've built in some safety margins and training for the operators.
So yeah,
that's incredible.
That was incredible, but it's kind of scary. It's well, from what I gather, it was on the same website where we found the first one. And, you know, the guys were asking the question in the first one, if you used it on something that wasn't unmanned, what is the effect? If you were to use that as a weapon against a ship or a vehicle, a car, instead of pointing it in the sky, what would be the effect? And then we had the second story about them doing some research and actual field trials of this thing where they're shooting microwaves basically at people. Now, their comment was that it was the way that they had tuned it was that it would only go to a certain level below the skin and all of that. And in the audio, you may not have heard it, but it was very rapid, very, very short burst pulses. But those people turned away very quickly.
They didn't like it. I mean, it reminds me of that thing, the collar you put around your dog's neck to stop it barking, or perhaps going out of the yard, you know, shark repellent. They use sonic for as well. I mean, the technology's been around for a while. I saw one for a fence in the Northern Territory now. So the cattle have a virtual fence. They've got a collar around their neck. When the cattle get next to the where the imaginary fence is, they get the shock and they turn around and the pain stops. I mean, as I say, it's not new, but you know, I've never seen it used on people before. Wow, there's a new world for you.
I had not seen it as well. Lloyd, what do you think of that?
He wants one.
No, I don't. Matter of fact, I think it's, you know, what T-Bird puts up there. What if a person has a pacemaker? I mean, they can't be around, you know, if they use it in let's say a riot situation. Well, not everybody that might be there, they might be just leaving their store when a riot breaks out, and these idiots break out the big gun like that and start firing microwaves. It might be some old man shutting down his grocery store, and all of a sudden his heart stops and he hits the ground. You know, I don't think they've thought this out. Besides, for the military to use that against civilians, if it's the U.S. Army, now if it's the National Guard, that might be a different story, but inside the United States, it's unconstitutional for them to use military force against American citizens inside our country.
Yeah, you make a good point there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, what are the long-term effects? An immediate effect of someone with a pacemaker. You know, I mean, you wonder.
Now,
I mean,
granted, some of those people probably shouldn't breed, but you know, sterility might be the best choice for them. But you know, I just.
Okay, boom tish. Let's move on to our next story because we want to get back to our guest very, very soon. The next one is titled Powered by Drone. Usually you would think of a powered paraglider getting its propulsion from a large single motor fueled by a petrol tank, a gas tank. However, in this video, there's a YouTuber and inventor, Peter Shripol. He builds a paramotor using 50 drone motors, if you can believe it. Check this out.
Oh, God, I can't let go of the throttle. That's so stupid.
So here he is building it. It had some music that I had to cut out, but you can see the 50 being built there.
They are simply ducted fans, aren't they?
Mm.
Yeah.
And who best to test this out than Tucker Gott, the Risky Biscuits guy himself.
So that first one is with Peter, and we'll have a second takeoff in a short while from Tucker. For those who don't know, Tucker Gott, he flies paramotors and does all sorts of incredible stuff. He's got a great YouTube channel. But
if that thing flies him into the shed, he's going to be shredded into sliced cheese. I mean, look at it.
This guy does some of the craziest stuff. He tries to make anything. He tries to make everything fly, you know.
Oh, God, I can't let go of the throttle.
I mean, he does.
Hang on. Got to get some duct tape to fix it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's obviously not overpowered, is it? We saw that.
Yeah.
And
here's the second trip with Tucker.
Tucker barely makes it across the runway. He just runs and skedaddles down the whole thing. Oh, he's going for it. It maybe needs a little more power. Also, I should probably note.
Oh, yeah, he needs more power for sure.
Are currently running for all these tests. NESC blew up, and we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, he's gonna land, I think.
Yeah.
2 knots of downwind and he's on the ground again. You know, you got the guys are going to do stuff like that. I mean, in an aerodynamic sense, so you know, a single pusher propeller is a very efficient way to move a paraglider and anything. Why don't we have you know all of those engines on a Cessna or something? You know, the work's been done on that, I think. But look, you got to try it. You got to try it. Someone's going to. Good on him. He needs to double the power though, at least.
Yeah. Look, it was way cool. It was way cool. And
it was cool.
The video that we've got there is like a 1.5 minute excerpt from what was a 15 or 20 minute video. All of our stories, if you go to the description for our video today, you can watch the entire clip. And for that one particularly, I encourage everyone to go and watch it in its entirety after the show. Absolutely wonderful footage. Let's go to our next one and pickup trucks. Well, we don't have pickup trucks in Australia. We've got utes. But aside from that, continuous drone operations are required for a wide range of missions, from commercial applications to emergencies. One solution to provide high availability and rapid deployment is to use a hanger on wheels on a pickup truck. This pickup mounted autonomous drone hanger platform is compatible with any off-the-shelf craft for automated mobile inspection and public safety operations, has been unveiled by Hextronics and Flybase. Now here we have the really cool intro, but then we get into it. There we go. So at the end of the day, as you said at the beginning of the show, John, this is not something new, but you know, we've seen other people doing it. But what makes this one different, I think, is the integration between software and hardware. So Flybase, they've got that software in their wheelhouse, and Hextronics, they've got the hardware in their wheelhouse. So putting the two together, I think, is a good partnership.
You got to have some, you know, Checo music too, don't you?
Oh, of course. So again, you know, let's leave the video there. We get the idea. Do you think there's room for that? You know, have we got enough hangers on wheels, or what do you think?
Oh, look, I think there's an application for, again, like the drone in a box thing that is never going to go away. Drone in a box on the back of a ute, drone in a box on a ship. You know, the military's putting big money into it. Security is. Everybody wants to have a drone that will just take off out of a box, fully charged, go do something, and then fly back to its box and charge. I want one, but I don't know what to use it for. But I think the idea is, you know, the idea is going to be developed further and further. We are a long way from the regulations allowing that to happen in an autonomous sense. That's always been the stick in the mud. There's no one there to watch it, you know, or if it's truly in a box out somewhere. What's it doing? Who's flying it? There's no one to blame if something goes wrong. That's what they're really worried about. But look, we'll get there. It's just going to take a long, hard road.
I just think what they were trying to do, at least what I saw, they were doing the equivalent of a checklist system and all of the other kind of compliancy stuff in Flybase, which was directly interfacing to the box, which is something I haven't seen in other platforms. So that, I think, it was good, but, you know, time will tell.
Yep.
We'll go to our next one, and we're just going to talk about the Mavic 3 release. I don't have any videos for this. We've just got this one static photo. Where do you see the last 24 hours? What do you think?
People say it's expensive. All of those things, we get that every time. I think it'll, you know, like the others have, it'll find its place. At the pilot meeting, you know, everyone on Tuesday, as you remember, Greg, said, look, I'm hanging on to my Mavic 2 Pro or Zoom because it's an absolute solid airplane. We have put, in 2 years or more, we've put the Mavic 2 through so much. And it's at time and time again, it just comes out of the box, it flies, it goes back in the box. So it's going to be a hard one for anyone to let go of. I think the cinema guys are going to love it. I think that you're always looking for a camera platform that's going to give you the edge. And that's going to be a thing. You know, you wouldn't buy an Inspire anymore to try and compete against that. But the truth is, you know, we talked also about the Mini 2. You know.
Yeah. Let me come back to that with you. I got a few things I'll share, but I can see Lloyd is busting at the seams there.
Well, the first thing, and it's already been brought up in chat, that was not the Mavic 3.
Did I have the wrong photo? Sorry.
Yeah, that was because the Mavic 3 has a two camera system on it with a zoom on top, and they're both Hasselblad, and then
okay.
I don't know the super duper, but yeah.
The article that was talking about the Mavic 3 had a Mavic 2 photo as its key photo, and I didn't check it properly. Sorry.
Yeah, it does look quite different. There's a few different features on it. Let's let everybody else go fly and come in, and we're going to have 50 unboxing reviews over the next day.
We've already had more than 50. I'm sure that all the unboxing videos, and we've got all of the first flight videos. And the ones that I really don't like, and I'm gonna say it here. You go, some guy take it out of the box, and he'll go, "Oh, what's it doing now? I wonder what that is." Well, no manual reading at all will happen at all. Everyone who go fly their $7,000 airplane, they will not know how return to home works or what the hierarchy is. Not a clue. Grumpy, you've got something you want to say. Let's just put you up full screen. Let's go.
What I was going to say was, he's talking about how many of the videos I watched, like a lot of us did. I watched the live stream as the DJI put out, and as soon as it ended, I had 10 videos. I used both hands. I can count that high. I saw 10 videos drop within. I mean, they were just a bam, 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 as fast as my phone could throw them up there. I mean, literally everybody had it timed. I mean, it was less. The thing had just shut off, and then boom.
And they're all
my
the
screen
same
filled.
too. They're all the same.
Yeah. Well,
I agree.
I will say this: I watched the best one I saw, and I saved it to watch his, and that was Kelly Shores. I liked his.
All right. Yeah. Sure.
No, I like Kelly. Besides, spin up's going on this weekend. I think it's kind of a big deal here in the States, if I understand right.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that, Kelly. Thank you for having your first Friday at the same time today. Usually we try and avoid that, but we've got your show live and mine live at the same time. So hopefully all of our audience have got stereo monitors, one looking at OzByDrone with your left eye and looking at Kelly with, hang on, OzByDrone with your right eye. Let's not go there.
No, you had it right, yeah.
One thing that we've got that he hasn't got is Jason, so I reckon that's a good time to introduce our guest.
He doesn't have Jason.
Kelly doesn't have me either. He does have Ken Dono, but, we all know I'm better than Ken Dono.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Guess what? Ken Dono's here on the last weekend of November. So he's our last guest before we go to Summer Series. But
he's going to give me crap.
Oh, shit, yeah. Let's move on and go to our guest, Jason San Souci. And we said at the beginning that our news is sponsored by Air Data. Let me just say that we're also supported by the Fearless Drone Academy. And are you new to the scene? Are you afraid to get up in the air? Do you need some help to get ready to launch? The Fearless Drone Academy is ready to help you get it up in the air. They offer a course that will help you to take off with confidence. Use the code OzByDrone20 to get a 10% discount off their training. There will be a link provided by Grumpy in the chat. Now that I've got that out of the way, hey, how you doing?
Hi, everyone. This is a lot of fun. I've been enjoying the show so far. A bunch of fantastic characters.
Yeah,
let's get into this.
We have fun. So you were originally suggested as a potential guest to come on by one of our viewers. I can't, to be truthful, remember who it was that mentioned that, and that's fine. But good to have you on. Tell me a bit about yourself and how you got into drones and what you're doing on YouTube.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. My name is Jason San Souci, and I'm here in Denver, Colorado. I started YouTube not that long ago, but I am a drone scientist. I've been using drones commercially for about 9 years, but I'm also a remote sensing scientist and geospatial scientist, and I've been doing that for about 20 years, drones are just kind of the newest flying ham sandwich that can carry cool sensors. And I've analyzed imagery all along the electromagnetic spectrum at all altitudes, from space, manned ISR platforms in Afghanistan, and now drones. So I've done it all. I've been around the world. It's been a lot of fun helping enterprise companies bring drones into their workflows to bring new insights. And basically, I just get to play with drones and data all day long, and I love it.
Okay. And you do that for the day job as well as your YouTubing? I do a lot of different things. So my day job, yes, I am chief architect at Juniper Unmanned in Golden, Colorado. And Juniper Unmanned. Stop, pause. Related to Juniper Networks?
Not related to Juniper Networks. Great to know.
Okay.
We're actually going through a rebranding because people say that all the time, and we are not.
I'm sure they do. Yeah.
Sure. So, but then I also started a nonprofit called Neurodiversity Works. And essentially, I help neurodiverse or those students that are transitioning on the autism spectrum and other neurodivergent conditions, basically help them prepare for careers in the drone industry.
Okay.
So I do that and lots of other things in this industry as well. But yeah, I like to have a lot of fun with it. I just want to overall help elevate the industry because I see it doing amazing things.
Okay. And let's talk about some of your videos. I was watching a few of them and I see you're doing comparisons between different enterprise platforms and stuff like that. So you say you're a drone scientist. Is this kind of you being like, I don't know, like a bit of Mythbusters between the different platforms and what they do, or Choice Magazine for drone platforms, or?
That's a really great comparison. Yeah, I because I've been using the platforms for so long and I understand sort of the foundations and science behind them, I really just want to give a different perspective, right? There's a lot of YouTubers out there that are they're technologists, right? They're technologists, but I'm taking it from a slightly different approach. I'm more of the scientist. I understand more of what's going on behind the scenes for all of the processes that are going on, all of the geeky, nerdy stuff in the background. So I really want to help sort of do these apples to apples comparison between, and because there's always a new platform coming out. They're like, by the time I've reviewed 8 of them or 10 of them, there's 8 or 10 more. So I just want to sort of stay on top of that because that not only helps the viewers, but it also helps me during the day job. What is the best tool for the job?
Okay. Now I'm going to see if John is there. Let's. Oops, got him. John, look, you're into obviously the enterprise side of things as well. So what have you got to share and ask?
Well, that experience in remote sensing was what just would set you so far above what we do. I mean, I don't collect the imaging, but I find that's the catch up for me. When I first started flying, I thought I'm not an amazing photographer. I don't see the art in it, and I don't have the eye for it. So I got into GIS, and we do a lot of GIS work. I've got my Emulet RS2, and I go out and stick it in the ground and take readings. But when I sort of got into it further, I just started realizing remote sensing is where it's at. And in fact, it was recommended to Tom, my son, who's our chief pilot, doing a various course, how he would accelerate a career in drones. And I got a resounding result. Remote sensing is where it's at. It's going to expand the drones, as you say, lift all these sensors, but an understanding of the way that works and what it's used for has an application so much larger than just our industry itself. So, man, good on you. You can't buy that experience. You've got to actually do the yards, and remote sensing from space and IFR aircraft and drones and everything puts you right in the hole. So, this is really interesting stuff. I'm envious. Wonderful. I'm going to be playing catch up my whole life to learn all that stuff. It's a huge subject. It's like taking on medicine in some ways. I'm not exaggerating. It really is an incredible science with so much to offer, an interest that you wouldn't imagine. You hear the words remote sensing doesn't describe quite what it really is. I mean, it kind of does, but it goes much deeper into the actual analytics into statistical data, into how the world works, how the planet actually is shaped and works is remote sensing. We only know our Earth by what we can measure, and that's what you guys do. You measure the place we live.
So, Jason,
Absolutely.
Remote sensing. What's your most interesting remote sensing application that you've either reviewed or talked about? Let's start with that.
Wow. Definitely not something that I've put onto the channel yet, but I'll tell you what, I need to start doing that, because I would say a lot of the technology that I use during my day job is not the typical prosumer or even enterprise level. It goes beyond that. And we're talking like bathymetric LiDAR. We're talking about, definitely thermography, but more advanced thermography. I'm a level 3 thermographer, or chief thermographer for a lot of different entities. Man, I'm trying to think kind of some of the cool ones right now.
I'm just looking at your channel list of some of the stuff you've got there. You've got an innovator interview where you're looking at crop diagnostics reimagined, so sensing there, the future of 3D scanning, changing water sampling, drone entrepreneur talk, chat with a real drone scientist. And then we go from that to drones deliver Girl Scout cookies. You've got everything there.
And I like it, though. I like it because the thing that I tell my students, so I really do have a heart for my nonprofit. I would say getting the students excited about the industry, they're excited about the technology, but getting them excited about what the technology is being used for. Great. Fantastic. I have this flying object. What can it do? What are people using it for? That's what I'm excited about. Everything from drone delivery to gold exploration. I mean, you also see on the channel, I was very excited about, the Mars drone, right? Ingenuity. That I was very excited about that. Drone on Mars is super fun. I just want to, because here's the thing that my philosophy behind drones is, if you get the drones in the hands of the thinkers, the adventurers, they're going to come up with a new use. Bottom line, right? We could teach them the basics, and we could teach them sort of the fundamentals and how to fly and safety and all of those things, but getting the equipment in their hands with some basic knowledge and just let them create, that's really what I'm all about. Yeah.
Have you had a play with inside of the existing technology yourself as well? Like, for example, one of the things I'm into is into some of the reverse engineering and digging inside and pulling it apart. Have you gone into that a little bit as well?
I haven't. So it's funny because I have a Master of Engineering, but I am not a tinkerer. I'm definitely more of a scientist for sure. So I do like the application side, the analytics side. What can you do with the data, right? What is the new perspective, the new insight that you can gain if I add this modality of sensing into this problem statement? When I put those two things together, is it something that's palatable? Is it something that's scalable, repeatable, quantifiable? Is that something that works? Or is it something that, it was a good try, we learned something, and we move it aside and we keep going?
Okay. I got one more quick question. I'm just having a look at some of your videos again. Top drone capture apps. You've had a look at a Vision, Drone Link, Tap to Map, Drone Deploy, Pix 4D Capture, Map Pilot Pro, Measure Ground. Are there any I've missed?
I'm also looking at Hammer Missions, and there's some other ones that are sort of popping up as well.
Oh, Botlink, Skyward in Flight. Yeah. So what? Give me the 400 AGL foot view of those apps.
Absolutely. So I went in first, but see like which particular metrics did I want to compare, right? Get that list of metrics and then go through them and use the exact same cookie cutter mission for every single time. Same place, same drone, same time. Go ahead and just run them back after back after back and just see how they work, right? What is the workflow? Is the user experience something that makes sense? Can you follow the workflow? Do you not know what button to push? For the most part, it was my first time using these apps. Not with all of them, but for some of them, it was the first time using them. And some of them, right out of the box, were extremely intuitive, very user-friendly. Others, not. So, and some wouldn't actually interface with the drone. Some just didn't work or were really buggy. So, I definitely dive more into that video. And I would definitely say, viewers, take a look at it, see what you think. But there are some really interesting apps like Tap to Map surprised me. I had no idea it was going to be that robust compared to, say, Drone Deploy and Measure Ground Control, which are sort of like the two rocks of the industry as far as I see them being used commercially on an enterprise level. But there are some other ones that are popping up right now, like Hammer missions. I'm telling you, these ones are starting to gain significant traction with not just functionality, but also user experience and user interface.
Okay. And for our viewers, do go and check this out as well. The Enterprise Drone Platform Showdown. There's a finale video. You can watch all of them, but if you want to get the quick 400-foot view, go and check that one out. Speaking of your channel, our bot is going and putting out your channel link in the chat. So do go over to Jason's platform. You're a newer channel with 232 subscribers. I want every one of our viewers who is watching today to go and click the link, go over and support him. Really, really good content there. We've got one other thing now. You were late arriving today, and for that, you don't know what's about to happen.
That's okay.
Our regular viewers know exactly what's about to happen. And there's, we like to have a little bit of fun after chatting to our guests. And it's time for...
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to play Stump the Yank.
So the audio says we're going to
Ladies and gentlemen, boys...
I don't know why it does that. Wirecast has got some weird stuff. You guys can't hear the audio, but it's stuffed it up on my side.
It stuffed it up on our side, too.
Stuffed it up on my side.
Could you hear it?
No.
Oh, never mind. Anyway, we're going to play Cook the Canuck. Normally we play Stump the Yank, but because you're from Canada, we had to change the graphics for that. So I did that while you were just saying hello at the beginning. So the idea here is...
Denver.
Colorado. Oh, sorry. I thought I heard Canada, and I changed it to Canada. My bad.
Buddy, that's all right. You can harass the Yank. That's fine.
Okay, Stump the Yank. Back to Stump the Yank.
I grew up in Denver, and last I checked, it was still part of the United States.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like New Zealand's a part of Australia.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, let's move on. The idea of this is, Jason, we have some Aussie trivia, and Lloyd asked the question, and we have a bit of fun with it and see how you go. Lloyd.
This will be fun.
Okay, I am ready.
You're on.
Yeah. Okay. What is a dingo's breakfast? Now, is that dog food, one of their special dog foods?
Is it a brand name?
Is it a brand name, Dingo's Breakfast? Or is it a hangover cure? Or is it, I don't know, a yawn, a leak, and a good look around?
Or a beer.
Or a beer.
Or a beer, man.
Okay. No,
I'm going to go ahead and go for hangover cure.
Yeah, well, no, it's actually a yawn, taking a leak, and a good look around. That's a dingo's breakfast.
Dingo's breakfast. I like it.
Okay. What is fairy floss? Now, is that something that Australian runway models wear? Is that, I don't know, cotton candy? Or is it a special mixed cocktail for the ladies in Australia?
I'm going with C.
No, it's actually cotton candy.
I love the way you're selling them today, Lloyd. I'm
doing good.
Your presentation's really good.
You're doing real good with selling it.
Yeah. And you haven't used beer yet. Nearly every third choice is beer.
Because beer is the most important thing in Australia.
Beer is very important.
Actually, beer is probably a real dingo's breakfast, but that's besides the point. Okay.
Last one.
Okay. What is a dag? Is that the name of a very famous Australian beer, or one they love? Is it the name of a cigarette brand in Australia, or is it a funny person, a nerd, or a goof?
Man, the DAG. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna just stay consistent. I'm going with C.
Yeah, you're right.
You got
it.
It's a funny person, a nerd, or a goof, and so I figured you being an engineer, you'd appreciate the nerd part, anyways.
But John's going to explain where that term came from.
Where that term came from. So, of course, a DAG is that person, and I often get called a DAG. Usually by my family when I turn up wearing something crazy, because they'll just say, "Oh, you look at you DAG," if you're wearing something particular. Or say something particular, or a DAG is actually the knotted wool around a sheep's bum, where it gets messed up with what comes out of the sheep's bum, and so what we do is you a shearer or a farmer needs to occasionally remove the DAGs from a sheep's bum because it attracts flies and so forth, and so when you know the actual meaning of a DAG. You're really saying that it's a knotted piece of crap that attracts flies. So you've got to really know that. We use it very affectionately around, but we know what it really means.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Look, Jason, thanks for being with us. One thing before you go, I just want to share close to, and can my producer put me and Jason on the screen just to... Sorry, she's sitting back reading a magazine or eating, I don't know. There's a local place close to us called San Souci. It's actually a town, and I just thought I'd share that with you, that you have a town named after your family in Sydney.
It's mine. I own it.
Did you know about that?
I did, actually. And there's also a castle in Germany, a resort in Jamaica or Dominican Republic. Oh yeah, it's fantastic because Sans Souci means without worry.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's also a beer named San Souci.
Well, there you go. Where would we be without the beer?
A beer named San Souci, but most DAGs come from San Souci anyway. So I don't reflect on you, Jason, at all. But it's been great. You've given us such a little brief glimpse into remote sensing today. I'd love to expand on that one time. I mean, even perhaps to suggest what might be possible from space, what the new satellites might do in remote sensing, how far can it go, and remote sensing on Mars. Well, I mean, that's what we do when we go to Mars. We remote sense, and the universe will be remote sensed. So I'm really interested in the subject. So I'd love to have you on another time to talk more about it.
Yeah,
I'd love that.
Lloyd was about to ask a question, but then all of a sudden his dog started barking and he's gone off. So we'll come back to Lloyd. But yeah, the dog asked it. Okay. Spark. We're going to go on and continue with our news stories. Jason, stay in the background if you like. If there's anything funny or interesting that you want to comment on as we go through our last 5 stories, let us know and we'll bring you back up on the screen.
Sounds good.
But for now, we're going to talk about a sparking drone. This one is a interesting story. A drone that crashed near a Pennsylvania power substation last year was likely meant to damage or disrupt the equipment in the substation, according to a federal law enforcement bulletin. The incident is the first known case of a modified unmanned aircraft system being used in the US to specifically target energy infrastructure, according to the bulletin from the FBI. The statement is based on a review of drone incidents dating back to 2017. Watch this.
A newly released intelligence bulletin obtained by ABC News reveals a potential plot to disrupt the U.S. electrical grid. A modified drone was recovered from the roof of a building in Pennsylvania next to an electrical substation in July 2020. It had 2 ropes hanging from the rotor arms with a thick copper wire strung in between. Officials believe it was likely being used to try to deliberately damage transformers or distribution lines.
So, my producer's asleep at the wheel again.
I don't think the owner of that drone was expecting to get it back somehow. I mean, and you definitely want to be taking a photo of what you were doing because you're never going to see the aeroplane again.
Can we just put that photo up again full screen?
Look at the copper wire in the bottom of it. I mean, it'd do the job, wouldn't it? You drop a copper wire into, but the other thing is, which is interesting, is to actually use that effectively, you actually need to know where to put it.
Yeah.
Electrical substations are complicated bits of infrastructure, and if you didn't know where to drop that wire, it's not just dropping it in there anywhere. You have to put it somewhere effective.
I wonder. Just looking at the drone, it's now a tricopter by the look of things.
Yes, that's right.
Right.
It certainly crashed.
Yeah, it's not landed well.
Yeah. And it wasn't the danger of flying into a place with all that voltage that was a problem. It's hanging a string off the bottom of your drone that's going to get you into trouble, even to get there. You know, if you've done that before, it's not necessarily a safe thing to do.
It's not an easy thing to do if you haven't done it before. But let's move on. Yep. So in Australia, we've got a brand called Super Cheap Auto, and we've got some vision relating to them. Check out this 888 Race Engineering wildcard cutting laps around Queensland Raceway from a drone's perspective. So we've seen plenty of, raceway videos, drone chases before, but just because it was an Aussie one, I thought we absolutely had to share it. Have you ever done any vehicle chases, John?
No, I'm going to declare though. When I was well and truly out in the sticks, I wasn't driving the car, but I was a passenger, and we attempted it. So we were just trying to get away from. I've chased a few cars, but mostly in a controlled thing. But it's hard. You actually have the chop to do that sort of flying. The best part about doing a racetrack though, rather than a freeform road, is you get out there and you practice the road. So you learn all.
You know where you're going.
Yeah, you know where the road's going. You know where the cars are going to stay on the track, and so off you go. Which makes it a little bit easier. The speed doesn't make it easy at all. You've got to be going pretty fast. That's great. Yeah. Good little bit of video. Again, a great thing that an advertiser says, "Oh, let's use a drone for that." Of course, there's going to be more of that too. So it's really made a difference to a lot of. And we've seen the Cinewhoop advertise the fly-throughs and lots of great stuff. And they all seem to rely on flying skill too. We don't. The first thing that comes to mind is, well, what drone is that? It's obviously going pretty quick, but whoever's flying it knows what they're doing. And I always think that they should credit that somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. Some really good flying. Let's move on to our next story. And obviously, drone light shows are also something that we've seen many times before. And this one, it's Halloween time. Now, I've sped this up, and it's currently running at 8 times the original speed. But look at that when you have a look at it. And then we got a second video that I've joined on the end of another drone light show. The second one, there's no fireworks to usher in the holiday season at Lansing this year. Silver Bells has contracted with Firefly Drones to do their one, which we'll see after we get rid of the scary bits. Okay, kill the music. But
I can see a real thing here for the city. I mean, obviously, it brings a great attraction to the city itself. So we got a harbour bridge and an opera house, and we light it up now, don't we? We project lights onto the opera house and the bridge, and of course, you love to highlight those things. Imagine the day when every city has got their own drone show that runs every night. So you're visiting the city, and of course, you go out for a walk, and you can see what might talk about, have things that are on the city or messages. Or I know the advertisers are going to come, and you're going to, like we saw banners flying behind airplanes and helicopters to advertise. Look, watch that space. When swarms, they're complicated at the moment. They're really difficult to get approval for, but there's a huge business there for swarm industry, advertising, promotion. I mean, that's what it's for. It doesn't do much else, and it's very effective. You cannot miss it. Millions of people see that type of show. And I'd love to see drones doing that over the harbour bridge every night. And it became an attraction, if you like. So look, watch that space.
You know, I spoke to one of our regular viewers, Trevor, and he was talking about, I don't know if it was a council or the city that was wanting to do it, but down in South Australia, there was a request to do a drone light show, and it was rejected. Unfortunately, they decided to do it right in the middle of the flight path of the airport. So
yeah, you can't. There are problems. I mean, there's a lot of issues. You know, air risk. Nighttime. The reason at night it's only going to be done at night because that's what makes the lights work. At night time, aircraft have a higher, lower safe altitude, so you don't get the VFR traffic, the light sensors and stuff buzzing around at low level at night because it's just not a safe thing to do. So there is a buffer of airspace at night that allows you to have a bit more scope. But as I said, that's not the problem in this case. It's a really risky thing to do. We've seen the video fails where they start dropping out of the sky, and they're dropping into an urban environment. So that's the biggest one, is that unless you can fly over water, and you're going to lose them that way, flying them over a city, is, well, you just can't do it yet.
Okay. Let's move on to our next story, and this one is titled Flying High. Flying High was a great movie in its day. This drone footage reminded me of that movie title while I was watching it. The Delta County Emergency Management Team responded to a fire earlier this week. The Delta County Sheriff Mark Taylor sent deputies to block traffic and says the cause of the fire at the hemp drying plant was not currently known. They don't know why the hemp drying plant was on fire. The blaze, he said, looked pretty bad. Now, to my producer, we've got to do a few cuts across to Grumpy over there. Just have him on the other button ready to go. There's the inspector right now. The blaze, he said, looked pretty bad and was putting out a lot of black smoke. Access to the area remained restricted on Wednesday morning, according to Taylor. Taylor said Wednesday that the fire may be burning well into the coming week. Multiple agencies responded to provide mutual aid.
In the days gone by, officer, I can remember they used to burn large crops of dope plants that they found in Australia. And the problem was that the police, they were having traffic jams because there were hundreds of people parking themselves downwind in the smoke.
How do you think I went? That's why I volunteered.
Yeah, I can imagine. If they don't do it anymore. I mean, obviously the hemp drying plant, had a fire on board. So, there you go.
But just reading the story was just hilarious. Access to the area remained restricted. There are multiple agencies responding to provide mutual aid.
Yeah, because they want to keep it to themselves. Yeah, exactly. They want to keep it to themselves, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jason, you had something you wanted to add in?
Full disclosure, that's not a joint.
I was going to say, it was a hemp plant and not a marijuana plant, just to be clear.
There is a difference, I found out. I mean, we did some hemp surveys at one stage when they started to, the government started to grow hemp or allow growing hemp for all sorts of things that they make from it, from, plastic. You can, a form of a substitute plastic you can make from hemp. But now, of course, with medicinal marijuana, there's licenses and, it's growing all over the place, of course.
They just started, actually, the year before Oklahoma passed their medical marijuana law, they just finally allowed them to start using hemp in Oklahoma, or growing it, for like medical purpose and stuff. Yeah, it wasn't even in Oklahoma. And we get hemp, then we get pot. And now we got a bunch of potheads in Oklahoma.
Yeah, working at the hemp plant.
Okay.
It makes great rope too, doesn't it? There's a lot of...
It does, yeah.
They told me a lot of products come from hemp. It's actually a pretty productive plant, a plant-based material that you can use for all sorts of manufacturing. Clever.
Okay. Let's leave that one there, and we're going to go to our last story for today. We've got a couple in reserve, but we've almost reached the end. This one, I've got the wrong title, so apologies for that. But you remember the bowling one take video. So we've got some behind the scenes information about that. And this is only a very, very short excerpt from a much longer video. Again, do go and watch that on the links that are in the description. Let's check it out.
If you're a fan of Bryant Lake Bowl in Minneapolis, or just a fan of mind-blowing video,
yeah, we just got here.
Chances are you're one of the millions of people who have now seen and shared this. And we know you have questions. More specifically, Farrah Donovan was behind the bar.
You see me for like a split second.
There's no cuts, it's a one take. Yep, no CG.
Director Anthony Jaska helped come up with the concept of showing every part of the iconic bar and bowling alley.
And I'm cueing each people to throw the ball, or it's coming back up. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of time. That was the 10th take. That was the last take that he did.
He is Jay Christensen, the drone pilot who uses some high-tech goggles to pull off that mind-bending mini drone wizardry.
By far, the part of the video that brought the most questions is when he took the drone from the lanes to the back without much room to spare.
All morning I was like stressed about it, like that's gonna be a hard move, and I ended up going 15 for 15 on that. I never crashed once on that move.
What?
Yeah, the hardest move to me was actually coming in the front door to start. It's kind of windy outside, and like there's a couple guys walking, and it was actually the start of the shot to me was like the hardest.
But it wasn't the hardest part to find a volunteer for.
I was the guy polishing the ball.
Mike Welsh is the owner of Sky Candy, which is why he decided to take one for the team.
Take some balls.
It sure does.
The only time Jay did crash, it was intentional. And they're just a little worse for the wear.
It actually completely went into it, and other than it's got this little break here, but it still flies perfectly, and we flew it right after we crashed it into there.
So there you go. That was... Oh, my producer's asleep at the wheel again today. What's going on? That was a cool...
All about skill.
Yeah, I mean...
You can't... You know, what? Sure, are we going to reach the stage where that could have flown that autonomously? I don't doubt it one day, but right now I'm loving to see someone fly with that level of skill. You know, for those of us that fly, Salieri said a great quote about Mozart one day, and it's interesting because Salieri, when he was asked about Mozart, was he a genius? And Salieri said, you know, mediocrity knows nothing higher than itself, but talent recognizes genius. And here we are. We know what it takes to fly a drone. We're the talent. But when you see something like that, you need to fly a drone to know how good that is. That's the answer. Everybody off the street thinks that he's just flying a drone. Man, that is incredible stuff. And I'm glad that skill set and that is still very much a part of our hobby and our industry, and it's recognised. And even though it's not understood and fully appreciated, you know, what skill pilots have through drone racing and to get to that level of flying skill. Check out, and this will be a good one, check out 3D helicopter aerobatics. The RC helicopter world has been doing amazing things for a few decades now. And you check out some of those videos, and those boys and girls have got amazing skills as well, flying skills, all with the thumbs, guys. You know, we're still doing it that way. We haven't found a better way to integrate a human-machine interface at that level with that sort of connectivity with what the machine's doing. You know, you still have control wheels and airplanes. We've had them for 100 years too, I suppose. So, you know, there's a very natural way to fly. And anyway, I love that stuff. It's just great.
I can see Grumpy sitting in the background there waiting to say something.
Well, I mean, first off, did you see the age of that guy? He's a kid.
Yeah, I know.
He doesn't. Nobody's told him he can't do that kind of stuff. Us old farts know it's impossible,
You know,
but them kids have not been told that they can't do that. It's just not possible, you know. But
I just noticed the look on your face when it came up, and he was talking about the ball skills.
Yeah, well, yeah. It does take.
Here's another one though that really rings to me. I had a drum student one time, and anything that requires skill, you know, repetition is the mother of skill, we say in music. And I'd love to hear what Jason said about this too, because, you know, in terms of a skill set, I had a student watching an incredible skill level, a young student, And I said, what's your comment about? What do you take from watching someone do something so well? And his comment was really interesting and meaningful. He said, you know what? I don't think he watches much television. And that's applicable in this case. He does it. He flies all the time. You cannot fly like that occasionally.
Without,
you need to do it over and over again. And so, although I agree with you, a young person's got the reflexes and all those things. What do you think, Jason? It's amazing.
I would say, I mean, because it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert in anything. So I would say those kids, those folks that are that good on the sticks, they have racked up thousands of hours. So no, I don't think they have time for anything besides that.
Yeah. It's true. You need to apply yourself, and you need to, and also self-assessment. There's a lot of things learned from mastering something to a high skill level. And as I say, I bring music into it again because as a musician, I understand it. You're self-assessing. When you're at the top of your game, you've got to self-assess how you can improve and where your level is. And no one else can tell you. Everyone else is going to go, well, you're amazing. That's not enough for someone who's doing it. They need to actually calculate and plan this and manage their skill set. But anyway, it's just great.
John, I thought you were a drummer.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not a musician at all. I was trying to let that one slip by. Thank you, Lloyd. I mean, gosh, you got the last joke there, didn't you? Really?
Well, and Jason mentioned this. 10,000 hours to become, a genius at everything. Well, that explains why I am so good at BSing, because I've been doing it all my life. I'm an expert at BSing.
Well,
I've got well more than
expert.
10,000 hours.
It's more than just a skill set for you, Lloyd. Your BS is quality BS. I mean,
That's
there's a difference there. It's not just any BS, mate.
That's right. It's the quality BS. Yeah, exactly.
I'm somewhat of a BSer myself, but occasionally I love to sit back and listen to an expert like yourself. I mean, I really do. I learn a lot from it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, John.
Thank you.
And speaking of BS,
That's the end of the show.
Speaking of BS, I do need to remind people that OzByDrone is also supported by No Limit Drones, and they're not BS. Do you feel like your drone is weighed down by chains when you're flying, and they've got limits of all sorts of things? Take the chains off and fly without limitations. Check out nolimitdrones.com for more information. There's a link in the description. And a reminder about the competition. Now, Lloyd, this is where I want you to go and put that link up.
I'm fixing to. Give me a break.
Okay. Old. Yeah, I know. So, No Limit Drones, if you want to win a booster kit, which we've talked about before, this is a 2.5 watt booster kit where you get a board that goes inside your remote, inside the drone, you self-install it, and you can certainly get some really good range out of that. If you want to win that, a couple of $100, or option B, if you don't want to do the soldering work on your drone, you can win a No Limit Drone software license. What do you have to do to win? The link that Lloyd is putting in the chat right now, all you have to do is share it on social media, anywhere you like. What?
He's not. He's asleep. I can see him. He's asleep.
I've already put it there once. I put it there twice. Give me a break.
Okay. So take that.
Soldering.
Can you mute Lloyd for me, please? What you need to do is get that link and share it on social media. It doesn't matter if it's YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, whatever. Share it somewhere and send an email to us. Let us know that you have shared that link. And I'm going to put our email address up right now. Just send it to upload@gregkuhnert.com. Or if you've got to view a video, you can send that there as well. You send a photo of where you've shared it, and that's your entry into the competition. The competition will be drawn on our next global fly-in, which I think, if memory serves me correctly, is next week.
Soon.
Yeah, I know. Once a month is the kind of challenge.
It's great. Now we can all fly because a DJI Fly have included streaming into the app. Hello, everybody. So until that was there, I mean, now I can drag the Mini 2 out, and we might see a big increase in global flyers because of DJI's inclusion of that. So that'd be good.
Yeah. So next week on the show, Global Fly-In, you will be able to fly wherever you are in the world. It'll come into the live stream. We'll share it on the show. We'll explore different parts of the world. And we're going to draw that competition. We will be an hour earlier than our show time this week. Cool. So that we can match up with time zones.
if you're going to do it an hour earlier than you're doing it in Australia, that will actually be 2 hours in the United States because we go back an hour next week or tomorrow night. So we have our time change tomorrow night.
Okay.
So they'll be 10 years behind instead of 5.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, they say set your clocks back. So I'm going to set my clock back to 1776 when there were real men and real women.
There's no time. It's the end of the show. We're not even going to touch it.
I know. That's why I saved it for then.
Okay, we've run out of time. And just to finish that off, it will be drawn next week. So you've got to enter now. While you're watching this video right now, enter. Share that link. Next week we'll draw it, and you can choose if you want the booster board or if you want the No Limit Drones license key. You have to be watching next week. If you're not watching next week, it goes back into the prize pool, and we'll do it at the next Global Fly-In. So you have to be here to win. Jason, any last comments from you?
I just really appreciate being on the show. Thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun. I subscribed, and I appreciate you sending your viewers my way. And I definitely would like to be on the show again. There's a lot more we can talk about.
Absolutely. There was so much in your video library there. It was just, I could talk forever.
I'm going to be checking that out because I'm interested in all that stuff. It's great. Very exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Jason. Lloyd, last words from you.
Well, first off, it was great having Jason on here, somebody with some intelligence, but that's another story. And rather than just color. And remember, be kind, treat each other better than you would treat yourselves. And remember, old farts like me, we even matter.
Yeah, right. You keep
Okay.
selling that, mate. Keep selling it. Keep selling it. That's a good idea. Yeah, great show, everybody. And we're looking forward to the Global Fly-In. Have a think about it. Plan that. Make sure you get the time right. We'd love to see it. And, we usually have some people from the States flying. Where are the Aussies? Come on. We've got some great stuff to show off. Get out your machine and join the Global Fly-In. Let's show the world where you're flying. We'd love everyone to take part in that. So,
and there's no excuse now. Even if you're using something with DJI Fly, you will be able to fly as well. So get your stuff happening.
You got a week's notice.
Okay. Look, everyone, thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of the show. I had a great time. I've got the last message, which is this one. Do follow us, share our links. There's the things, OzByDrone on those platforms and a few others. And if you want to send anything physical to us, it's 5/127 Princess Highway, Sylvania, New South Wales, 2224, Australia. That's all we've got time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being with us. That's all. Bye-bye for now.
Bye for now. See you, everybody. Fly safe.
Bye, everyone. Fly safe.
Goodbye.